You know Mother Gothel is a mean old hag, but this is not what this series is about. This series is about Flynn Rider and Mother Gothel. I'm not even gonna call her mother because whose mother is you, girl? No one's. All right, hear me out. What if Gothel and Flynn Rider were in cahoots together? What if they were working together? I know it sounds crazy, but it might just be so crazy that it might be true. Let's get into it. Welcome to the You Plot Thought is insane. Welcome to the You Thought Plot, where I share my crazy theories about movies that you know and love. Let's get into it. At the beginning of the movie, Gothel is literally losing control over Rapunzel. She's getting older, curious, a little bit rebellious, if you will. And she keeps asking about them floating lights. But is Gothel gonna take her? No. Gothel only wants to scare her into staying because she knows that they might see her and figure out that she's a lost princess and then she'll die, right? But now Gothel's scaring her is not enough for Rapunzel. Rapunzel needs to stay willingly. So this is my theory of what Gothel's plan is, or was, I should say, because she gone. I think that Gothel wanted to give Rapunzel a taste of what the real world was like by setting her up. Rapunzel needs something that will scare her other than Gothel telling her that the world is scary. Her plan was to have Flynn Rider come and steal from the tower while Gothel was away and scare Rapunzel. This whole situation would also give Gothel the reason to move Rapunzel further away from the kingdom, so far that no one would ever find her and Rapunzel would never question it. She wouldn't be thinking about them floating lights, she would be scared half to death. Now, how could Flynn and Gothel be connected? As you know, Gothel can't really go into the kingdom because somebody might notice her. After all, she is the most wanted kidnapping criminal. But she has Flynn and the two twins do her dirty work. How do I know this? Well, when Flynn and the twins go steal the crown, they talk about it as if it's a job.
We do this job. You can buy your own castle.
So that would suggest that they're for hire. With Gothel being a criminal herself and being very manipulative, of course she would work with other criminals for her own benefit, which would make her trust Flynn enough to do this job for her. First of all, Flynn is kind of like her at the beginning of the movie. Kind of a charming liar, you know, somewhat convincing, a little bit manipulative, but not in a terrible way like Gothel. Now, they had just had that whole falling out since Rapunzel was getting older, and I'm sure Gothel knew that Rapunzel was about to be more rebellious and curious. She had a plan, and she planned this job out in advance with Flynn Rider, telling him that she wants him to go steal from a tower. She'd leave something for him to steal as payment. But since Gothel could not fully trust anyone, she did not want to tell him where the job would take place too early in advance. So she said that she would meet with him on the day of the job and let him know the location, so that she could just swoop in and save the day and uproot Rapunzel to a quote-unquote safer place. Now, since they were supposed to meet in the afternoon, Flynn of course had another job: to steal the crown in the morning. Now, things didn't go as planned and the guards started chasing them, so he was not thinking about that job with Gothel. Alright, just pretend like I've been saying Gothel the whole time because that's how you pronounce her name. Sorry guys. Now, as Flynn Rider is on the run, he stumbles on the tower, not knowing that this was the tower that Gothel was going to have him do the job at, right? And Rapunzel meets him in the head with a skillet, as we know. Now, you know the whole story. She wants to go see the floating lights. She blackmails him into doing it, and she gets him to do it by bribing him and telling him that she'll give him back his precious crown after he takes her to the floating lights. They go to the Snuggly Duckling, and that's when Gothel sees her first. All while this is taking place, the twins are still trying to find Flynn Rider. Gothel thought that she was going to trap Rapunzel and Flynn, but she ends up coming in contact with the twins instead. She overhears their conversation. They want to get Flynn too. Now, when she sees the twins, I want you guys to notice this interaction. She doesn't talk to them as if she's just met them for the first time. She calls them boys. Oh! That doesn't make any sense. Why are we all buddy-buddy with people we don't even know? Or do they know each other? I'm sure Gothel has had them do jobs for her along with Flynn Rider. But what about them turning on her and putting knives to her? They wanted that crown. That's all they wanted. But of course, Gothel is so manipulative and she knew what would get them on her side. Revenge on Flynn Rider, the crown, and saying that she would give them Rapunzel, which we all know that she wasn't going to give Rapunzel up. But they didn't know that. They go through that whole situation with their near-death experience. She tells them about her magic hair, yada, yada, yada. Gothel reappears and tries to get Rapunzel to come home with her. So when Gothel sees Rapunzel alone and Flynn goes to get some firewood, she tries to get her to come back home.
No!
Of course, Rapunzel doesn't want to go. She's fallen in love with this boy. And of course, Gothel continues to put her down, manipulate her, and gaslight her like she always does. But Rapunzel does not fall for it. Gothel gives her the crown, and she has to move into Plan B. Y'all know the story. They go see the lights, they fall in love, he wants to give the crown back to the twins, and they turn him in. While Mother Gothel saves the day once again. She doesn't care who she hurts, as long as she wins in the end. But we all know how this story ends. Gothel dies, and she is returned to her rightful royal family. And they live happily ever after. Why would Flynn tell Rapunzel that he was going to do a job for Gothel and potentially ruin the future with the girl he loves, right? It's just a theory, but it may be far-fetched. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like this theory, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next theory.